A situationship can hurt like a breakup, even when no one ever called it a relationship. That is what makes it so confusing. Your mind says, we were not even official. But your body says, then why do I feel like I lost someone? Why do I still check? Why do I still remember the soft moments? Why does something undefined feel this real? Why does a person who never fully chose me still feel like someone my nervous system is waiting for? That is the trap of a situationship. It does not always give you a relationship, but it gives your body enough signals to attach. It gives you late-night closeness. It gives you chemistry. It gives you almost promises. It gives you private moments that feel bigger than what either person is willing to name. It gives you attention, then distance, warmth, then confusion, access, then uncertainty. And because it never becomes clear, your nervous system keeps reaching for the answer. Is this real? Are they serious? Am I imagining this? Are we becoming something? Did I matter? Did they feel it too? This is why a situationship can become so hard to let go of. You are not only attached to what happened, you are attached to what almost happened. You are attached to the version of the bond that kept appearing for a second, then disappearing before it became safe. And that almost can hook the body harder than something stable, because the nervous system never gets a clean truth to rest on. It keeps waiting. It keeps scanning. It keeps trying to turn fragments into a full relationship. So when people say, just move on, they do not understand what your body is trying to release. You are not releasing a label. You are releasing a nervous system loop. You are releasing the high of possibility. You are releasing the hope that the next conversation, the next night, the next text, the next moment of closeness would finally turn the undefined into something chosen. If this kind of clarity helps your nervous system settle, subscribe. PsychBond is a daily decoder for psychology, relationships, and avoidant and anxious attachment patterns, so you stop guessing. Now, let us decode why this happens. Your nervous system does not attach only to official titles. It attaches to cues. It attaches to tone. It attaches to repetition. It attaches to emotional contrast. It attaches to the feeling of being wanted, even if that wanting is inconsistent. It attaches to how someone makes your body feel when they are close, not only to what they have promised with words. That is why saying, "we were never official," does not automatically make the pain smaller. The body does not always care about official. The body cares about impact. Did this person make you feel seen? Did they make you feel wanted? Did they open a future in your mind? Did they give you enough emotional intimacy for your body to start bonding? Did they come close in a way that felt private, personal, and loaded with meaning? Then, your nervous system may have started building attachment before the relationship had a structure. That is why situationships are so confusing. The structure is missing, but the emotional cues are there. There may be no commitment, but there is chemistry. No clear title, but there is closeness. No promise, but there is a pattern of returning. No real security, but enough warmth to keep your body invested. And when the nervous system receives those cues again and again, it starts treating the bond as important. It starts saving their name as a signal. It starts noticing their absence. It starts waiting for their attention. It starts feeling relief when they return. It starts reading small details like evidence, because there is no clear relationship agreement to hold on to. In a stable relationship, the structure helps the nervous system relax. You know what you are building. You know where you stand. You know the connection exists outside of a good mood or a late-night message. But in a situationship, the nervous system is forced to build its own structure from clues. A long look becomes evidence. A sweet message becomes evidence. A night together becomes evidence. A sudden check-in becomes evidence. A vulnerable conversation becomes evidence. And because the evidence is emotional but not official, your mind keeps arguing with your body. Your mind says, "This is not enough." Your body says, "But it felt real." Both can be true. It can feel real and still not be safe. It can be meaningful and still not be chosen. It can affect you deeply and still not have enough structure to protect you. That is the painful middle. The attachment was real, but the relationship was not fully built. The feelings were real, but the commitment was not real enough to hold the feelings. The intimacy was real in moments, but the consistency was missing in real life. That is why the grief feels so strange. You are grieving something that existed emotionally, but not structurally. You cannot point to a clear beginning, so the ending feels blurry. You cannot say, "We broke up," but your body feels abandoned. You cannot say, "They promised forever," but your heart still feels betrayed by how close it got. This is the nervous system lens. A situationship keeps the body activated because it mixes closeness with uncertainty. And closeness plus uncertainty is one of the strongest attachment hooks. The closeness tells your body, "This matters." The uncertainty tells your body, "Do not relax yet." So instead of settling, your system stays alert. It keeps trying to solve the bond. It keeps trying to predict the next shift. It keeps asking, are they coming closer or pulling away? Do they care or are they using me? Are they scared or uninterested? Is this timing, avoidance, confusion, or rejection? The uncertainty becomes the fuel. It makes every warm moment feel more powerful because you do not know when the next one is coming. It makes every distance feel more threatening because you do not know if it means the whole thing is ending. This is why situationships can feel more intense than stable relationships. Stable love can feel quieter because the body is not fighting for proof every day. A situationship can feel louder because the nervous system is always trying to earn, decode, and secure something unstable. That does not mean the situationship is deeper. It means it is more activating. And activation can be mistaken for depth. Anxiety can be mistaken for passion. Relief can be mistaken for love. The high of being wanted after uncertainty can be mistaken for connection. This is where the trap becomes dangerous. You start measuring the bond by how strongly your body reacts, not by how consistently the person shows up. If a message makes your chest release, you call it love. If a night together makes everything feel possible again, you call it destiny. If the chemistry feels electric, you call it a sign. If their attention feels rare, you value it even more. But the nervous system can become obsessed with the thing that regulates it after dysregulating it. If someone creates confusion and then gives you relief, the relief can feel like safety. If someone keeps you unsure and then makes you feel chosen for a few hours, the hours can feel huge. If someone stays vague but gives you intimacy, the intimacy can feel like proof that words do not matter. But words do matter. Clarity matters. Consistency matters. Direction matters. A connection that can only feel real in private moments, but not in clear choices, will keep your body hungry. This is why the almost relationship can become addictive. Not because you are weak, because intermittent affection trains the nervous system to keep waiting for the next hit of certainty. One day they are close, then they are vague. Then they are warm, then they are distant. Then they say something meaningful. Then they avoid the conversation that would define it. Your body learns the cycle. It learns to wait through the cold because warmth might return. It learns to tolerate confusion because clarity might come. It learns to accept less because the next moment could finally be the moment everything changes. That is not love becoming secure. That is hope being stretched. And stretched hope can keep a person attached long after the relationship has stopped nourishing them. You may tell yourself, I cannot let go because what we had was so special. And maybe parts of it were special. But sometimes, the real reason you cannot let go is that the bond never gave your nervous system a completed answer. It never became fully yours, and it never fully ended. It stayed open enough to keep possibility alive. That unfinished quality can become a mental loop. The brain hates unfinished emotional stories. It keeps returning to them because it wants closure, pattern, meaning, completion. So you replay. You replay what they said. You replay the night things felt real. You replay the look, the voice note, the softness, the almost confession. You replay the moment you thought, this is it. And because there was no clear ending, your mind keeps trying to write one. Maybe they were scared. Maybe they will come back. Maybe they felt it but could not say it. Maybe I should have been calmer. Maybe I asked too soon. Maybe they need time. Maybe if I disappear, they will realize. Maybe if I stay kind, they will choose me. This is not just overthinking. It is your nervous system trying to create safety from ambiguity. But ambiguity cannot give safety. It can only keep the search alive. A situationship also hurts because it creates private grief. In a real breakup, people understand that you lost something. In a situationship, you may feel embarrassed by how much it hurts because part of you thinks, what am I even grieving? We were not together. I should not feel this attached. I should not be this affected. But that shame makes the wound worse. The pain is real because the attachment was real. The attachment was real because your body experienced connection cues. The grief is real because your nervous system invested in a future that never had enough structure to arrive. You are not dramatic for grieving what did not become official. You are grieving the emotional reality of it. You are grieving the version of yourself that believed it was becoming something. You are grieving the safety you thought was coming. You are grieving the identity you had inside that hope. You are grieving every moment where your body relaxed because it thought, maybe this person is finally choosing me. And when that choosing never fully comes, the body does not just lose a person. It loses the imagined future that helped it survive the uncertainty. That is why situationship grief can feel so heavy. You are not only grieving the person, you are grieving the fantasy bond. The fantasy bond is the relationship your mind built around the moments that felt real. It is the imagined version where the chemistry becomes commitment. The late-night closeness becomes consistency. The vulnerability becomes emotional availability. The almost becomes finally. And because the real relationship did not have enough structure, the fantasy has room to grow. It fills the gaps. It explains the distance. It protects the hope. It says, they are not choosing me yet, but they will. It says, this is not casual, they are just scared. It says, what we have is different. It says, they would not keep coming back if it meant nothing. Sometimes that may be true. They may feel something. They may be attached. They may be confused. They may be afraid. They may know you are not ordinary. But someone feeling something is not the same as someone building something. That is the brutal truth. A situationship can be filled with feeling and still be empty of commitment. It can have chemistry and still lack care. It can have history and still lack direction. It can have longing and still not become safe. This is why you have to stop asking only, was it real? That question can trap you because the answer may be yes. Yes, the moments were real. Yes, the chemistry was real. Yes, the attachment was real. Yes, they may have cared in some way. But the better question is, was it real enough to be safe? Was it real enough to be chosen? Was it real enough to become consistent? Was it real enough to hold your needs? Was it real enough to exist outside of chemistry, timing, loneliness, and convenience? That is where the nervous system starts waking up from the spell. Because something can feel real and still not be enough to live inside. Something can be intense and still not be trustworthy. Something can make you feel wanted and still not make you feel secure. You are allowed to honor that it mattered without pretending it was enough. Another reason you cannot let go is that situationships often create a special kind of self-doubt. When there is no label, you start questioning your right to need things. You think, can I ask for clarity if we are not official? Can I feel hurt if they never promised anything? Can I expect consistency if we never defined this? Can I be upset that they pulled away if they never said they would stay? This is where undefined relationships can quietly train you to betray yourself. You lower your needs because the relationship has no container. You act calmer than you feel because you do not want to seem demanding. You accept emotional intimacy without emotional responsibility because you are afraid asking for more will break the connection. You become grateful for access instead of access for clarity. And slowly, the situationship becomes a place where your body is deeply attached, but your needs are not allowed to take up space. That is not freedom. That is emotional uncertainty with a pretty name. People sometimes say situationships are easier because there's less pressure. But for an anxious nervous system, undefined connection is not easier. It is exhausting. It creates constant internal negotiation. Do I text? Do I wait? Do I ask? Do I pretend? Do I pull back? Do I accept this? Do I bring it up? Do I act unbothered? Do I let them lead? Do I walk away? The lack of definition does not remove pressure. It moves the pressure inside your body. You become the place where all the uncertainty lives. The person who wants less structure may feel free, while the person who needs clarity feels emotionally suspended. And that suspension is what makes it so hard to detach. You never get stable enough to feel safe, and you never get rejected clearly enough to grieve. You are kept in maybe. Maybe is one of the most addictive places for the nervous system. No can hurt, but maybe keeps the system searching. Maybe lets you imagine. Maybe lets you bargain. Maybe lets you believe the future is still open. Maybe says, not yet, but possibly. Maybe says, do not leave, because the story might change. And if you have an anxious attachment pattern, maybe can feel like hope. But maybe can also become a cage. It can keep you loyal to something that has not chosen you. It can keep you emotionally invested in a person who gives you enough closeness to activate love, but not enough clarity to create safety. This is why letting go can feel like betraying the bond. Your body says, but what if it becomes real later? What if I leave right before they finally choose me? What if I was too impatient? What if the connection was rare? What if I never feel this again? Those questions are powerful because they are built from fear and hope at the same time. But you have to ask another question. What if staying in maybe is costing me the part of myself that needs to be chosen now? What if the pain is not proof that this is love, but proof that my nervous system is tired of waiting? What if I am not letting go of the person, but letting go of the fantasy that uncertainty will finally become safety? This is where healing starts. Not by denying that it mattered, not by pretending you never cared, not by shaming yourself for getting attached. Healing starts when you can say, this felt real to my body, and it still was not enough for my life. That sentence is powerful. It lets you validate the attachment without staying trapped in it. It lets you stop arguing with yourself. You do not have to say, it meant nothing, in order to move on. You do not have to make them evil to choose yourself. You do not have to erase the soft moments to admit the pattern hurt you. You can say, yes, it mattered. Yes, I felt something. Yes, my body attached. Yes, I hoped. And also, I need more than a connection that only exists in almost. I need more than chemistry without clarity. I need more than closeness without consistency. I need more than being wanted in moments and unknown in daylight. There is another piece that matters. A situationship often makes you feel uniquely chosen because the closeness is not public, stable, or fully explained. It can feel like a secret world, a private language, a version of the person that not everyone gets. And because you saw something tender, something softer, something almost intimate, you may start believing that your access to that side of them means you are closer to being chosen than you actually are. But private access is not the same as public clarity. Being the person they open up to at night is not the same as being the person they build with in the day. Being the person they desire is not the same as being the person they protect. Being the person they come back to when they feel lonely is not the same as being the person they are willing to choose when choice requires effort. This is where the nervous system gets confused. It says, but they showed me something real. They let me in. They were vulnerable. They came back. They looked at me like it mattered. And yes, maybe they did. But vulnerability without consistency can still leave you alone. Desire without direction can still keep you waiting. Intimacy without responsibility can still hurt you. A situationship can give you access to someone's softest parts while still giving you no safe place in their life. That is why the bond feels so hard to release. You are not only letting go of the person, you are letting go of the belief that seeing their hidden side meant you were finally close to being chosen. The nervous system begins to let go when it stops treating possibility as proof. Possibility is not proof. Chemistry is not proof. A deep conversation is not proof. Coming back is not proof. Jealousy is not proof. Missing you is not proof. Proof is behavior that can hold the relationship in real life. Proof is clarity. Proof is consistency. Proof is a person who can name what they want and act in alignment with it. Proof is care that does not vanish when the bond asks for responsibility. Proof is someone making room for your needs without making you feel like you ruined the fantasy by having them. This is why you cannot heal from a situationship by collecting more signs. Signs are what kept you attached. You heal by looking at structure. What was actually being built? What was actually chosen? What was actually protected? What happened when you needed clarity? What happened when the chemistry was not enough? What happened when your feelings became inconvenient? What happened when you stopped pretending casual was enough for you? Those answers matter more than the softest memory. Because the softest memory may explain why you cared, but the pattern explains why you hurt. If you want to let go, you have to stop letting the best moment speak louder than the repeated reality. The best moment may have been beautiful, but the repeated reality is what your nervous system had to live inside. And if the repeated reality was uncertainty, waiting, guessing, hoping, lowering your needs, and feeling chosen only in fragments, then the bond was not safe enough to keep building your life around. It may have been real, but it was not real enough. That is the sentence that frees you. It was real, but not real enough. Real enough to affect me, not real enough to hold me. Real enough to remember, not real enough to trust. Real enough to create attachment, not real enough to become connection. Real enough to hurt, not real enough to stay. When you can say that, your body starts to understand that letting go is not betrayal. It is protection. You are not betraying the connection by leaving the maybe. You are protecting the part of you that needs clarity to feel safe. You are protecting the part of you that cannot keep surviving on almost. You are protecting the part of you that deserves to be chosen without needing to audition for a place in someone's life. The final truth is this: a situationship can feel real because your nervous system can attach to possibility before reality has caught up. But your future cannot be built on possibility alone. Your body may remember the chemistry. Your heart may remember the closeness. Your mind may keep replaying the almost. But safety is not built from almost. Love is not proven by almost. Connection is not created by almost. Almost can wake the body up, but it cannot give the body a home. You are allowed to let go of someone who was never fully yours, not because it meant nothing, but because you mean more than waiting inside something undefined. You are allowed to want a love that does not keep you guessing whether you are allowed to need it. You are allowed to want a connection that has enough structure for your nervous system to rest. You are allowed to stop calling the intensity of uncertainty a sign that this must be love. Sometimes it is not love asking you to hold on. Sometimes it is your nervous system begging for an ending it never got. And sometimes healing begins when you stop chasing the person and start giving your body the truth. If it cannot choose me, hold me, meet me, and become real in my actual life, then it is not my home. If this helped your body feel a little safer, Liking this video helps it reach someone else who needs this clarity. Welcome to PsychBond. You're safe here.